Last night's Season 3 of Westworld continued with its third episode of the season titled The Absence of Field, offering a major reveal but also setting the table with a new mystery in the Charlotte-centric episode. This episode doesn't actually reveal who is inside Charlotte's host's body, but instead offers a closer look at the absence of Charlotte Hale and focuses on the theme of identity. The title of the episode, The Absence of Field, connects itself to a poem from Mark Strand called Keeping Things Whole. Mark Strand's poem features the lines of, "In a field, I am the absence of field. This is always the case. Where I am what is missing. When I walk, I part the air, and always the air moves to fill the spaces where my body's been." The key thing to take away from this poem is that where you are is not the thing that otherwise would be there. There are two separate things. There's the part, and there is the whole. What we have in this situation is someone pretending to be Charlotte Hale to the people who otherwise would know her well, like Charlotte's child or Delos board members. But what they see is actually the absence of Charlotte. We see this struggle throughout the whole episode, that the host within Charlotte is fighting to keep things whole, but where Charlotte should be, she actually isn't. The host inside Charlotte Hale's host body is fearful and confused when she doesn't remember who she is. Dolores tells her that she's a creature of beauty and power, telling her to remember who she really is after we see Dolores rebuild Charlotte's body. The last time we saw Charlotte Hale's host body before it was rebuilt was when Dolores was walking out in that body of Westworld with the 5 pearls. Now, it's implied that the previous host body of Charlotte Hale was destroyed by the occupant. Dolores explains that the hosts are alone and outnumbered, and with the absence of the power and the control that Charlotte Hale holds at Delos, then there will never be any more of their kind. We hear Dolores say, "Now let me show you who you need to pretend to be." It's a clear directive. However, we see in the scene when Charlotte is trying to console her son, that Charlotte's son notices the absence of the real Charlotte is there. Her work at Delos is keeping her away from home, as we find out she's informed that someone has been aggressive in purchasing stock at Delos, and that 38% of the company now belongs to Serac. It's so interesting that we have someone who is completely anonymous, in that no information can be found out about him. But it's hardly the biggest problem that Delos is facing, as it's revealed that there is a mole inside the company that is leaking valuable data. This connects to the whole theme of the part and the whole. How can you gather information about something of which there is an absence of someone who lacks an identity? This is why this episode is one of my favorites of the series, because we see Tessa Thompson, who plays this version of Charlotte, have to toe the complex line of pretending to be the Charlotte who will be recognized at home with her motherly instincts, and the self-assured and ruthless executive side of Charlotte who gets the job done at Delos. This illustrates that the particular host inside Charlotte doesn't have motherly instincts and has difficulty adapting to Charlotte's set of loops. However, I do believe the scene where Charlotte goes to pick up her son Nathan, who's interacting with a man who's most definitely a pedophile, shows us flashes of who might be inside her host's body. She says, "It reminds me of what it's like to be me. And I can't shake the feeling that what we might be seeing is a Wyatt is in Dolores and Dolores is in Charlotte type of narrative." It's so interesting that Dolores tells Charlotte that you belong to me, which hints that this could perhaps be Teddy, who was a love interest, or her father Peter Abernathy, who is her family. But Dolores is wearing black, and Charlotte is wearing white, so I can't help but feel like they are two sides of the same coin, the yin and yang of Dolores, the darker side, and her more light side. And that's the truth about the absence of field, this idea of where you are and something else is not. This interestingly enough connects to the story we see Dolores tell Caleb that his whole life path is simulated by Rehoboam and that he's caged within his path. Dolores is right, there are similarities between the two characters in that they've had their past simulated and constructed for them. But what Caleb doesn't know is that when he says she is the most real thing that has happened to him in a while, is that she is actually the absence of that very thing which he describes. I find it so interesting that while Dolores is searching for a way to take down the whole system, she discovers a part in which Caleb can play in her revolution. This connects brilliantly to the narrative of the song Doomed by Moses Sumney played at the end of the episode. She sees that he is one of the many who are doomed to keep on repeating this loop of asking themselves if they are vital to the world and if there is space for them to be truly happy in it. We see that Dolores offers Caleb a choice, take the money or join the revolution. It's also a question for the audience, ourselves the viewers, to ponder if this algorithm-based society ultimately leads to us being doomed by our core loops. But what does Dolores really want with Caleb? Is she really connecting with him in a genuine way because, like her, he has been abused and controlled by humans? Or is this situation like the one we saw with Dolores and Teddy in Season 2, which resulted in the suicide of Teddy? I like to think that this conversation is genuinely heartfelt because she is showing Caleb the truth, and she's offering him a choice. But this side of Dolores, which I believe is now Wyatt, shows a much more ruthless side in that she will use and manipulate anyone or anything to get what she wants. We see that Dolores now wears black like William, the Man in Black, which is very interesting because the William we see in the trailers for Season 3 and the upcoming episode show him wearing white. This could foreshadow a darker path for Dolores and perhaps a more redemptive and enlightening one for William. But honestly, the scenes between Dolores and Caleb in this episode are some of my favorite in the whole series for a few different reasons. Not only because it connects to the narrative that has been so prevalent in the show of the idea of free will and if it truly exists, but also because it's clearly laying out the main theme that will be highlighted in Season 3 of determinism versus free will. It's also ironic because Dolores also mentions that they have no mother or father now, taking on more of a mother of hosts type of role in this episode. This contrasts nicely with what's going on from Charlotte's point of view and her struggle to get Charlotte's real son Nathan to recognize her as a mother. But it's also very interesting that Caleb, who shows compassion for his mother who didn't recognize him, unlike William, who didn't show compassion for Dolores, resorted to violence when she forgot who he was. There is a strong connection between William and Caleb in that William's wife committed suicide after he made several trips to Westworld and admitted he didn't really belong to her. And we know that Caleb is also projected to kill himself in 10 to 12 years. So I think that we should watch the relationship between him and Dolores closely because he does mention that she is the realest thing that's happened to him in years. I think that there's a strong possibility that Dolores is the reason that he attempts to kill himself, as Caleb will have a similar revelation as William when he realized that he fell in love with the host that is Dolores. Overall, this episode was fantastic and in my opinion one of the top 5 episodes of the series. We found out who Charlotte was working for with Sriracha all along, and we got some brilliant character development with the pairings of Dolores and Charlotte and Dolores and Caleb. But who do you think is inside Charlotte Hale? And were you surprised at the reveal that Charlotte was the mole inside Delos and working with Sriracha? Let me know your favorite moments and theories that you have from this episode in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and subscribe if you do want to see more Westworld videos like this one. I will be creating a trailer breakdown video tomorrow on episode 4, The Mother of Exiles. And Wednesday and Thursday, you can expect a more detailed video on who's inside Dolores and Charlotte Hale, and a video connecting William and Caleb. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hype and love.